Do you have any idea what you want to be when you grow up?
I guess a doctor, astronaut, because they find out what is the planet about and they go out of space in a rocket ship.
I'm still working at the same job, but I want a degree so that I can move forward. I feel like I'm stagnant. A neighbor told me about a center that accepted children as young as 12 months. And I was like, they change diapers? She's like, they change diapers. I'm like, great. So I made a conscious decision in 2010 to go back and stay in school until I finished my own degree. And Drew Child Care Development helped me achieve that.
In the early 70s, there was this feeling that Watts needed to be developed as a really positive part of this Los Angeles community. It was still experiencing a lot of fallout from the riots. People in the community were being asked, what could we do? This group of women talked to Carolyn Reed Green, who was an educational psychologist, and who together advocated in the community to get a child care center connected to the hospital. Drew Child Development Corporation was born on the hospital grounds in some bungalows that were there, made available to them at the time.
For a lot of people, it is a known institution because there have been a myriad of programs that have been facilitated by Drew and for such a long time.
Recently, we changed our mission statement to be more simple. What the mission statement basically said is that we are preparing children in Watts, Willowbrook, Compton, and South LA to succeed. It therefore strengthens our community. And that's just so profound in my mind, because that's what we're doing.
I've been bringing my daughter here since before she turned 2 actually. Her name is Nida Ibarra. She's just very playful. She's a happy person, loving person. We live with my mother currently, like a block away from here.
Most of the people who access our services are within a 1 to 2 mile radius of Drew, and they walk to our operation. We're not over downtown or west of here. We're specifically there in the community.
Sometimes people feel as though, because they're such there's a struggling community or something, that the parents don't care, or that there's not people, that are involved in these kids' lives that really want to see the best for them. And one of the strengths of each of these communities is just that, you do have parents that care.
Since I'm a single mom, it's been very hard to deal with a daughter by myself.
Biggest challenge is making sure that they get what they need.
They don't necessarily know all the services that are available to them. They don't know, how they can go about getting what they need best for their child. So we come in and we help them do that.
We have the mental health program, that focuses on assessing these children early on if they have some issues of trauma, domestic violence, depression, all those issues. So we use evidence-based practices models to help those children focus on what they need to do and when they get into school settings, and as well as we're working with their families.
You have to deal with the whole person. That whole person is going through whatever it is that they're dealing with.
A lot of the folks who live in our immediate area or live in below the poverty line. We see a lot of crime in the area. We continually have to deal with the issues of literacy in the area. We work hard to select and identify people that have knowledge and experience and passion.
They wanted someone that knew the community and knew probably some of the situations that some of our families go through and certain things that kids go through, but they were looking for someone that had a heart to do the job.
I decided to become a preschool teacher because I love children. I have 6 of my own. They're all grown. And I decided to continue with other children, helping them develop the best they can.
Chase says and does things that when other people are around, they're like, how old is he? I'm like, he's 4. So he's definitely beyond the curve as far as development-wise. This Drew Child Care has made the difference. He gets things, he's talkative, he responds well. Sometimes he says things that I'm like, where'd you learn that? He's like, my teacher.
She said, oh, it's our Drew baby. And I got that nickname because my mother worked for Drew Child Development when I was in middle school. I was very interested in social services then, and so Drew was going to be, my place to really affect change in the world.
You learn to care for the children, and as time goes by, they care for you as well, and that feels rewarding. It feels great to me. They see you like a sister, so, like their comfort zone.
When they come here, they don't even know their ABCs, and when they leave this classroom, they know their ABCs. They know how to write their name, spell their name, their birthdays. They're ready to go to the big kids school, since we call it.
Every day she comes talking about something new. She talks about Cesar Chavez, she talks about Rosa Parks. She's constantly talking about people, about history.
Some of them even pick up a second language, like they come in only English or only Spanish, and then they speak another language.
Their teachers are well qualified. They care about your children. They share the development process with your child. They ask you for your input.
There are many times where we go to each other's office and we might be stumped about something. We're like, okay, have you had a client like this? What helped with your client?
We are a family, and that family connection is not just among staff members. It really does extend out to the clients that we serve, and the dignity with which they are treated. They become family members.
I love all my babies.
I like to see Drew Child Development Corporation become the premier early childhood development education entity in South LA.
When you produce healthy children, you produce healthy adults. I strongly believe that preschool is definitely a precursor to college.
This is where values education really starts. How you relate to another individual starts right here.
You can't learn when you're hungry. You can't learn when you feel inadequate in terms of how you look with your clothing, or that you have some type of medical issue. We actually have to go out and fundraise at least $40,000 or $50,000 each year for the allocation that we do not receive.
We always are in need of materials. So why not have someone to do that for a child? This is wonderful. You're helping a child that really needs it.
Drew, however, shares a problem that practically all nonprofits in low-income neighborhoods share, and that is that board members who probably can be most helpful are in great demand.
We always need funding. We have to get out there and do our best. And in doing so, we need people behind us that's going to help support us financially.
Right now we're spread around. We kind of work in silos. Education in one area, mental health in another area, and et cetera. But I want to bring us all under one roof. And not just the physical plant itself would represent, but what the important work that's represented in that physical plant, and that's being offered to the community. That's what I want to have. And a place for the community to come as well, you know, to meet and to enjoy the privileges of having a resource available to them.
People in the larger society, larger community, not just employees of Drew or former clients of Drew, need to understand that these kinds of issues affect all of us because we don't live in a vacuum. These things are all on the same continuum, and it's the same groups of people that we're taught to fear. It's like, well, if I can put money into helping this community be self-sustaining, if I can help put money into them not having to turn to crime, to drugs, to feed their families, or to deal with the everyday situations, then I'm affecting change.
It's in your best interest to help the children at this level understand, first of all, that they are important, that they are an incredible part of society that needs to be cared about and protected. If they're not getting it somewhere, that there should be alternatives, that there should be surrogate parenting if they're not getting it where they should. That the society owes that to our children, because if we don't, then there's no empathy for anybody else in the society. That's why you should invest in Drew.
Every child success strengthens our community.